What's up, guys? So we have some more Challenger mods to do. If you remember from the video when I installed these 17-inch SMT wheels, I was never really happy with the look of this 130 profile front tire. Mainly reason why we went with this profile tire was because the actual height was the same as the stock tire, and we were worried about the ABS sensors throwing off codes and whatnot. So, still hate the look of it. I'm not a fan, so what we're gonna do is experiment. So what I did, I bought this other Metzler. So this is basically a step softer and compound. This is their sport touring tire. What this is a 120 70 17 profile. So another thing with these sport touring tires is the weight chart. So the heaviest sport touring tire I was able to find easily available was a 58W, where these are a 65W. If you look over here at the chart, so 58 is good for 520 pounds, 61 is another common one, and then 65, which is what the stock tires are of that. So the combined weight. However, even with just doing this 520 and I still have a 65 in the rear, I'm still well within my weight tolerance, especially considering that this bike is a decent amount less heavy than stock. So we should be good there. Another neat thing about these, also Bridgestone does it too, the red dot corresponds to the lightest point of the tire, so it's actually meant to be positioned right at your valve stem here, so it should make mounting and balancing a little bit easier. For all these tires that I mounted on those, if you notice, there's absolutely no weights on it. I never had to put weight on them. So by lining up that dot, it does make things a little bit easier. But just in case we do have to put weight on it, broke this out to show you how I do it. I figured we'll just show a little bit of my tips and tricks or whatever for mounting tires. So I mount all my own tires, and then obviously, like I said, balance them. So you have your balancer from Tusk, you have your Motion Pro wheel guards, set of black sticky weights, and then these right here are what the game changer. These are the Motion Pro bead breaker spoons. I'll show you how these work a little bit, but obviously this kind of goes in the bead. This comes in here, and then you sandwich down, and it just pops the bead right off the wheel. Super easy, and all this setup in here costs less than what it would cost you to pay the dealer to mount and balance a set of tires. So when I'm done with all this, and it saves you a ton of money in the long run. And then most of your local landfills, once a year they'll do a day where even if you're not a garage, if you're just personal use, you can take all your wheel or your tires there and to the landfill, and they'll dispose of them for free. So usually by the end of the couple years, I have about 15 or so tires, and I just take them all at once. So another thing, what we're gonna have to do is, since the profile of this tire is shorter, this is the carbon fender for the 19-inch FTR wheels. So then we can obviously measure this gap here, see how much narrower the other one is. But what I think I'm going to end up having to do, I didn't buy one yet, but I'm going to end up buying another 17-inch carbon fender from that bike. I'll just steal mine for now, if this works, and then I'll end up just selling this thing. Another thing this will do, it should drop the front end just a hair. It might make it a little less stable at higher speeds, but your tip in, turn in should be fine. So I have a 255 17 rear tire, and then with this 120, so this is the exact same sizing that the Bagger Racing bikes are running. So it should handle just fine, especially with my 4 cartridges in here. So obviously we'll get this tire off, or wheel off, and then get the tire off. Alright, with that out, also I like to have this piece of board down here so you're not scratching your wheel and everything on your concrete. Obviously you're going to take your valve stem out next. And basically what you do is you take your first tool and you shove it right down in. You take your second tool, come up here, and you just clamp down. And there she's out the bead. Obviously it doesn't always go this easy. And then you gotta do both sides. See, you don't need an expensive machine. I think these spoons are like $7-8 or something like that. Alright, so now once it's off the bead, what I like to do is take a little bit of soapy water. Obviously they make special lube for this if you need it. I don't. And then what I'll do is I'm going to press the opposite side of the tire down so it's inside the wheel. Put our paint protectors up here. If you use enough soapy water, you really don't need these, but I use them until I get annoyed with them and they come off. Put this over there a little bit. That's basically what you're going to just do. Go under, grab the bead of the tire, and pull it right up. Like that. You're just going to keep working your way out, and the side's off. Easy. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, do the same thing. We're going to lube inside there. And sometimes you get lucky where it'll just pop off. Obviously that's not going to happen this time. This is always the fun part. There we go. We got no scratches on the wheel. It's perfect. So what I'll do is I'll clean this up, and then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get my wife's hair dryer here. So she got tired of me always taking it. So now I have a garage hair dryer. But basically what you're gonna do is put it on hot. Stick it right inside the tire. I'll move it around a couple times. Obviously just use a hair dryer, not a heat gun, because you don't want it super hot. What it does is when the tire is nice and hot, it makes it super easy to move around. When it's super hot and sunny, I just stick them outside in the driveway and let them bake. But I'm kind of in a hurry. Or if it's a rear tire, do a nice big smoky burnout, and it'll get the tire taken off nice and warm, and it'll pop right off. It is a shame for this tire. It only has a couple hundred miles on it, which I may end up putting that back on it. If this is tripping my ABS and my speedo's really wonky, I'll just put the 130 back on it and call this a loss. But let's see how it goes. Some interesting facts. So these are all Metzler. That one's made in Brazil. That stock one's made in Germany. That's made in Germany. This one in China. Kind of well. And then obviously the Bridgestone's made in Japan. So that's getting warm. I got some fresh soap in my bottle. Obviously what we're gonna do is, so the rotation of the wheel is this way, and we'll line the rotation of the tire, and what I'll do is set it down. I'll hose this all down with soapy water. I'll hose the bead of that down. The first time it should just pop right on, then you should just have to spoon around the outside. It should be good to go. Say that now though. Again, obviously we're going to line our red dot up with our valve stem right here. So let's see if we're good to go. Oh yeah. So the rotation of this tire is, where's the arrow? Am I blind? I'm blind. Alright. So the rotation is going this way. So it's going to pop on like this. Yep. So we're going to lay this down here. And then we're going to have our, so I always like to keep the dot and the valve stem closest to me. It makes it easier when you just put it on and you don't have to worry about it. So just double check that the rotation should be going this way. Yes. Alright. Because I've had to remove these tires before and it's not fun. Because of something stupid like that. So anyway. Hose the shit out of this. There's no such thing as too much lube, she said. And in a perfect world, this will pop right on. It's close to a perfect world. Ah, you're so close. I don't think he's gonna do it, boys. Just needs a little persuasion. There we go. There we go. Alright. So then again, what we're gonna do is a little bit more lube. Just gonna push this in backside here. Remember what we want? We want the bead to be in the center of the tire, so we can get it over the wheel. And obviously, the tire being warm makes this much easier. And we're just gonna do little bites at a time until we get it where we want it. This one's gonna fight me a little bit, I can tell already. So it does help to have an extra hand, obviously. Extra hand that I don't have. Just gonna pray that that doesn't come back out. mic. Yep. Ah, fucker. There we go. Again, another scratch just to my wheel. All looks good. We have our valve stem lined up. I'll just spray a little bit extra in here, so that way I don't have to put a crap ton of PSI in it to get it to seat. Throw our valve stem back in. I'm gonna go get my air chuck. Now the fun part, let's see if she pops. She wants to go. There she goes. And we are fully seated all the way around. Nice. Now we'll go back down to our pressure. Calls for 65 psi, but I know in those, or 36 psi. When you're running 36 psi, those started to cup. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try like 38 psi in these. All right, we're just gonna run 36 for now, or sorry, 38. This guy's wiped off. So this one, I know the rear tire has some weights, but this front tire didn't have any weights on it. So I don't think we're going to need to put weights on it, but I'll show you the procedure just for some people that like it, like Kyle. So let's move to a balancer. So this is set pretty level. So basically what you want to do is you want to find the heavy spot of the tire. So currently it's where your valve stem is. That's why you put the lightest part of the tire where the heaviest part of the wheel is. Obviously it's sitting right down there. So we're going to set it right there and see what it does. So the fact that how slow it's moving, I'm not concerned about it at all. So if this was really heavy, it would basically just completely fall back down. So we'll put it up there. So this tire is in balance because as you can see, the dot was over here and it's still wanting to rotate this way. It's really not, and it's not rotating that way either. So I am not going to put any weight on this tire. Golden. So if you were going to put weight, what you would do is you'd test it in a couple different spots. So say this dot we'll put right here. If there was a heavy spot in the tire over here, what this would do, it would sit there and rotate and come down to the bottom. And if you'd want to double check that, you'd take this heavy spot here start it up here and see if it rotates that way and comes back to the bottom. Comes over here, rotates, comes to the bottom. So then what you do is you go 90 degrees from that point up to the other side, and you would take a couple of these weights, and what I would do is I'd take painter's tape and just start with like 1 or 2, put some painter's tape up there and see if it evens out. So if you put the weight here and the other heavy side was down here, what you do basically is just come here and see if the heavy side goes down or if the weighted side goes down. If where you put your weights goes down, you need to take some weight off. If the other side goes down, you need to put more weight over here. So chances are, normally you don't need to put it in 1 or 2 spots in the wheel, but like I said, if you line up the dot with the valve stem with a good tire, I mean obviously with cheaper tires, you're gonna have balancing issues, but with a good tire, I don't even use this. I haven't brought this thing out in years. Doing it just to show you guys this type of balance. But, so, I'm gonna throw this on the bike. I am curious about the fender. Let's see what that's going to look like. So if this were going to go in the same mounting locations, it'd be about right there. So as you can see, about a ½ inch difference from what it was before. So that looks a little silly, so I'm gonna try and put my FTR fender on and see what it does. But I'm gonna get everything all torqued down, caliper bolts back on, and then we'll come back. Alright, she's on, she's looking good, it's sitting right. I really didn't notice that much when I was just sitting on it. I'm still on my tiptoes, obviously I'm not that tall. So I didn't really notice the front end being that much lower. Yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah, shoot over to the gym. I'll put the cruise control on and we'll try and get a steady reading for this GPS speed versus there. Alright, so as you saw on that highway, I had cruise control set, 70 or 80, and my phone GPS, the GPS on the screen, and then the analog gauge all were within 1 or 2 miles an hour. So it's actually still better than it was stock. I think it has mainly to do with the taller rear tire. But this did absolutely no effect on it. No ABS lights, no nothing. I put about 25 miles on it. So, I mean, obviously time will tell if for some reason it wants to kick something. But as of now, I think we're gonna call this one a success. So tip-in is a lot quicker. It's a little twitchy. I mean, just very small movements in your bars will make the bike do this. At speeds well above highway speeds, the bars are absolutely flawless. Doing longer sweeper turns at decent speeds, again, there's absolutely zero negative bar feel. Obviously, it being a little bit twitchier in the turns will take some getting used to. That also has to do with the taller profile rear tire, and I think this is just accentuating it just a little bit. But I'm so far really happy with how it's handling right now. So I think this might be the final solution for the setup that I wanted for this bike. But again, time will tell. If there's any issues, I'll just add a description of this video. But for now, that's the end of this mod.